everyone, thank you guys so much for joining me today for this video. My hair is still a little wet because I'm impatient and I don't want to wait for it to finish drying before I start this video, because it's kind of going to be like, I don't know, I think it's going to kind of be like a rant mixed with just talking about stuff, but I don't know, am I too zoomed out? I see YouTubers and it's like their head is just like boom. Okay, I guess this is better. The main topic of this video is going to be about like psychosis and like supernatural stuff. And so I'm going to be kind of like ranting about it, but also just like talking about it. The reason I'm making this video is because I started having a little bit of psychosis, and I'm not going to go into what triggered it, but I was having some like early psychosis symptoms. I'm going to put that in quotes. Early psychosis symptoms. The reason I put that in quotes is because I actually made a video with that as the title, and it was just a Vlogmas video, but for some reason, since that was the title, the video got over 20,000 views, but it was just a Vlogmas video with that title, so that was kind of weird. So I'm gonna, maybe that will be the title for this video too, and I'm like remaking that video, because that video wasn't really about early I mean, it was, but it was also just a vlog, so I wanted to make an actual video where I talked about early psychosis symptoms. And this video was inspired by the fact that I have been having some. I know that will worry some people. So if my parents are watching this, I'm fine. If anyone who is worried about that, I'm totally fine. These are just what I would call this sort of thing. They're like breakthrough symptoms. So sometimes even when you're on medication, you'll have symptoms that break through the medication. And this can be, you know, triggered by normal triggers like stress and other random things. Alright, so I guess I'll start the video talking about early psychosis symptoms in case I title the video that. One of the early psychosis symptoms that I personally have, and please leave a comment below if you can relate to this or not or what, but one of the early psychosis symptoms I have, well, I'll name a few of them. There's not that many really, but one of them that I think is really interesting is when there's like a song playing or like a jingle playing or anything like that. It will keep playing for a minute. And by the way, when I have early psychosis, it's definitely things that I can talk myself out of, but they're still there. So if I wasn't on medication, I would probably, you know, keep having the psychosis, but since these are just breakthrough symptoms, I don't keep having it. So there's like a jingle playing or a song or something like that, and then it's turned off or stops, I'll keep hearing it in my head. So, and I know people are like, oh, I do that too, but it's like that's something that's not controlled at all. It's very like, why is that happening? Like, it's very disturbing, I would say. Yeah, it's very disturbing. It's not like you keep listening to it in your head and you're like, la la la. It's very like, did that song stop or did it keep going? Like, it's very like confusing. So I just want to put a disclaimer that I don't really like talking about this stuff because I don't want to worry anyone, and you know, I just don't want to worry anyone or make anyone concerned. But as per my rant later in this video, I'm going to talk about how other people can talk about this stuff and not have any repercussions whatsoever, but because I have a label on me and I've been to a mental hospital and, you know, I've been told that I have bipolar with psychosis or whatever, or bipolar with psychotic features or whatever, then that means I'm crazy. But then when other people talk about this very nonchalantly, like their experiences with this, it's like, ooh, like people are gonna like believe in it, and like they're not skeptical at all. So I don't know, that's what I'm gonna rant about later, but let me keep going. So another early psychosis symptom is that you have paranoid delusions. So like I said, I'm able to talk myself out of them in the state that I'm in, but if you're having full-blown psychosis, then you will have paranoid delusions that you think are really, really, really real, and it's not something that you can talk yourself out of or be like, huh, silly brain having some sort of paranoid delusion. You're like really in it, and that's like your reality. So yeah, as far as like full-blown psychosis, I can relate that to really being in a waking dream or a waking nightmare usually. So like you'll be awake and people will see you awake and you're going about, you know, your day or whatever, but you're having like a nightmare or dreams, like if you're having, and like, so you'll see things that aren't real. I mean, I think people who take Ambien and then they don't go to sleep, they'll have these same sorts of like hallucinations. It's really like weird hallucinations. And another early psychosis symptom is like seeing faces in places where there aren't faces. So if you'll look at a tree and like the little bark on the tree makes it look like a face. You'll look at carpet and the design on the carpet looks like a face. You'll see a crack in the wall and it looks like a face. So just like faces will start popping out. Like your brain will confuse, you know, benign looking things for faces. So I think that's what your brain does. Like if you want to think about it scientifically, I can't explain it very well, but I'll leave a link below to a video that explains it better. But your brain makes like associations between things that it shouldn't be making associations between, and that can cause you to have problems, I don't know, cause you to think in a weird way, abnormal way basically. You'll make connections in your brain that you're not supposed to, or that you normally wouldn't, because of some sort of neurochemical thing that's happening. I don't know the science behind it. If anyone does know the science about it and would like to make a video about it, I'm sure everyone would appreciate it. But anyway, so your mind will be making connections between things that it's not supposed to, whether that's visually or auditorily or with thoughts. So you can have delusions, which are basically thought-based hallucinations, and you'll also have visual hallucinations, and also tactile hallucinations with full-blown psychosis. So yeah, early psychosis symptoms are like breakthrough psychosis symptoms. They're basically just really minor delusions, mild paranoia, mild hallucinations that you can talk yourself out of very quickly. And yeah, early psychosis symptoms, meaning like someone who is just coming down with it. And then also, you know, someone who's having breakthrough symptoms, who's already been diagnosed and all that other stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of rant a little bit, which I've kind of been ranting this whole video because this is supposed to be a rant, but I also thought I should give some like background before I ranted if anyone's new to my channel, which this probably doesn't make any sense for someone who's new to my channel unless you're like really knowledgeable about these things already or really interested in these things already. So I'm going to talk now about like paranoia, or not paranoia. Now I'm going to talk about like paranormal things mixed with psychosis, because I think a lot of times people having psychosis can be mistaken for a paranormal experience happening. So whether that means they're like possessed, or their house is haunted, or they're having a religious experience. So the rational explanation is that their brain chemistry is doing something strange, and the irrational explanation is that they're having a religious experience, or they're having a haunting, or they're having a or they're possessed or something like that. So I stumbled upon a girl's YouTube channel where she's Wiccan, and she talks about like necromancy. I couldn't get very far into her videos without thinking, oh, this is bullshit, because I'm not a religious person. I've said this before, like, about it. I'm agnostic basically, so I leave the door open, you know, like maybe those things are true, I don't really know. So I just have the stance of I don't know, but I'm also skeptical of one certain religion when it's all about beliefs and not about science. So my beliefs are tend to be backed by science. I don't know, but I'm also spiritual, and I'm open-minded. So, you know, when someone talks about Wiccan stuff and like paranormal stuff and like, I don't know, I couldn't watch very much of her videos without thinking they were bullshit. But like, just like if I'm listening to a Christian talking about things, I can't listen too long without thinking it's bullshit, just because I have a very science type of mind. So I look for the scientific explanation of things instead of believing in a religion such as Wiccan or believing in paranormal activity. But then at the same time, it started to make me a little mad. Like, how come when religious people say that Jesus talked to them or that God talked to them, people are like, oh, that's great, you're very spiritual, you're very religious, this totally makes sense, you're a perfectly rational person, and we all love you because you put it in the context of God and Jesus and you're a Christian and all this other stuff, or Buddha or whatever. But if a bipolar person says these things, or a schizophrenic person says these things, or anyone who experiences psychosis says these things, we're considered crazy. So if I ever have a paranormal experience, which is actually just me having psychosis, I'm considered someone who's psychotic. I mean, a lot of other like science thinkers and non-religious people also think that people who are having religious experiences are actually having psychosis, which is just, you know, your brain chemistry doing something, which once again, I'm not a scientist, so I can't explain it, but there are other resources you can go to that will explain the actual science behind it. I mean, I could attempt it, but I don't want to because it might be wrong. But I do know that there are scientific explanations for most things paranormal and most things religious. But I don't know, I just wanted to rant about that, like how religion is so intertwined with psychosis, and kind of just annoyed that, you know, when I'm having a psychotic experience, people will automatically assume it's because I lost my shit and I went batshit crazy. But then if a religious person has a paranormal experience or a religious experience, I don't know, if a religious person goes through these things, it's like, oh, they're possessed by a demon, or oh, she's a saint and God is talking to her, or oh, she's a psychic, or oh, she's a medium, or something like that. Like if, you know, a person going through psychosis is seeing dead people, or seeing ghosts, or, you know, just any sort of hallucination. Because I've noticed that most people who go through psychosis, their psychosis is very similar to paranormal experiences, like seeing strange figures, seeing ghosts, thinking about people being able to rise from the dead, and being in other worlds, you know, tapping into other dimensions and stuff like that. I hope I didn't sound like too much of a smartass in this video, but this was supposed to be like a rant mixed with kind of remaking a video that was a Vlogmas video, but a lot of people watched it because I did talk about psychosis in it. So I think I might talk about psychosis more on my channel, because I do think it's relevant for people who are religious and who are interested in paranormal things, and people who are also interested in mental health. I think it's really intertwined because, you know, sometimes I do wonder if those things were real or imaginary, and why, you know, why did my brain in particular go through those things? Like, am I like chosen, you know, by God, or, you know, it's very unexplained. You know, there's a scientific explanation, but then science is always learning new things at the same time. There's always you know, science is always open. The door's always open for more research. Anyway, this video is probably long enough. Sorry if it was a little bit weird. YouTube has this new thing where we can do an end slate where we post something here. So apparently I'm able to post something here. I don't know. So yes, the end. Have a nice day. Okay, bye.